What is going on, everybody, and on here? And today is a pretty funny day. So, for those of you who don't know, if you have a partnership or an S corporation, your federal tax return is due today. Now, you can file an extension, but you still have to pay taxes that are owed. I spent most of my day working through those, making sure that everything's accurate. But I'm not a real business. I was just doing that. Unfortunately, I did not have time to troll the chat of two other PokeTubers that I'm not part of in their stream. So I found that pretty absolutely hilarious. So that being said, I do want to apologize to the folks that commented from my last video that understood things, because there were a lot of dumbasses who didn't understand what I was saying. So when I make a statement that I would sell Destined Rivals and I would buy Perfect Order at release, this is a risk-based approach to investing or buying assets, because you have one asset that has run way too far, way too fast, and you have one asset where the public sentiment is absolute garbage, about as low as it's going to get. So generally speaking, the loud dumbass Timmies on the internet, including a lot of PokeTubers, are wrong. They think things are all mid, things are all garbage. People buy them anyway. Things are absolutely great. Tends to underperform because the bar is raised too high. So we saw this with Spider-Man in the Magic world. We're coming off the heels of Final Fantasy. The hype was so high, everybody and their brother wanted to buy it at $900, $1,000 a collector box. There was no way to ever hit those expectations. On the flip side, you have Turtles that came out. Everybody thought it was dog shit. It's going to be the worst set of all time. That was a set that I had my reps actively scraping as much product as they could from stores that didn't want to take it, because when the bar is that low, there's nowhere to go but up. So part of the reason why I do what I do outside of the actual business, which I was also packing orders today. We have a lot of stuff going in and out, sending wires to distributors, and working through the logistics of receiving all of the different SKUs of products from Wave 1 and Wave 2 that are coming in over the next couple weeks. Those are the things that you actually do when you run a business. It's not YouTube videos, generally speaking. I do those, but I don't spend any time editing them, and generally speaking, they are Excel educational videos. So that being said, when I made the statement that I would sell Destined Rivals, they're going to reprint Destined Rivals. They just hit Europe with a reprint of Destined Rivals, which means it's going to hit here. And it's going to stagnate for a while. Now, it might be a great entry point, but that's not the point of the conversation. I didn't say buy it 300 after the reprint comes. I said I would sell it right now at 550 because there's little to no upside in the foreseeable future, meaning for the next 12 months. But Perfect Order, when you're buying 200, sub 200, wherever it goes, even if it's 220, it's going to go to $300 in a relative short amount of time, 3 months, 6 months, because that's what's happening with all these booster boxes. And people just don't understand how cutting 90,000 boxes of supply is going to have an impact on the tailwinds for the box prices of the product. Just folks don't understand it. It's a complex concept, and we don't live in a complex world. We live in a world where people play games, where anybody and their brother can pick up a microphone and they can talk on YouTube, including myself. There's no education requirements, none whatsoever. So I'm going to go into another wave of a ton of things that I would much rather buy right now than Destined Rivals. So Magic the Gathering, the easiest freaking game in town is Magic the Gathering. A lot of folks look at it. They don't spend the time. They're intellectually lazy. They say it's garbage. Screw Hasbro. This is literally the easiest game in the world. So let's talk about reprints, since everybody and their brother has selective amnesia. So these are all the reprints that I had mentioned. I had been talking about them for a couple months now. And Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, the Pokemon Company, they all tend to move things around. Now, they'll have stuff printed, they'll have it staged, but they move it around as they see fit. And a lot of times those things are fluid. So, for example, Karlov Manor Commander decks were supposed to come out in October of 2025. Last update I had was January. It looks like they're probably going to come up now in April. Lord of the Rings Commander I had initially for November, likely land time in January. They hit in February of 2026. And a lot of people said, I didn't know what I was talking about because Lord of the Rings was out of print. Well, guess what, Timmies? It's not out of print. There are no rules. This is Magic the Gathering. Foundations play just hit. Edge of Eternity's play hit in December and January. Bloom Burrow play hit the end of February, early March. So all of these have come out. Now we have a situation where Hasbro has most likely hit their Q1 revenue numbers, and they're going to push some of this stuff to Q2 because, again, everything revolves around quarters when it comes to Magic the Gathering. So we have Lord of the Rings set, Wild set, Ixalan set. I believe all will be one is going to be included as well. I quite honestly I didn't pay that much attention because I don't give a shit. I don't like the set. Personal preference. And then we have Wilds of Eldraine Commander and Fallout Commander. That is confirmed coming to European distribution. And it is, I think it's landing any day now because we had that coming. And then obviously we had the Destined Rivals reprint that, again, everybody's like, well, I'm only getting 6 to 10 cases. As we saw with Surgic Sparks, there's a lot of stores that are getting 6 to 10 cases. Just because you're not getting 50 cases doesn't mean a fucking thing. You just don't have any idea what the overall breadth of the market looks like. So, first of all, we're going to talk about commanders. And I've spoken about this at length. The best and easiest thing to do in Magic the Gathering is when commander decks get reprinted. There's a lot of stores that sell at a very, very slim margin because they're trying to churn dollars and they're trying to spend. Take advantage of it. They are giving you the opportunity to return their capital and take the product and make a profit over time. And the way this happens is commander displays sell through distribution over a period of time, and then they dry up. And then there are unique singles within those commander decks. They go up in value. People want to buy the decks themselves to play. They go up in value. They sell through. And a lot of these decks have, a 2x, 2.5x return before the next reprint of them comes in, which a lot of times is 9 to 12 months later until they're out of print. And right now, I can't tell you what out of print means because there are no rules with Hasbro. There's no such thing as out of print. In fact, I think I mentioned this the other day. I saw a website of a large store in Europe that was taking pre-orders for September of 2026 for Baldur's Gate set box reprint. Now, I don't believe it. I also don't disbelieve it, but that would be a stretch even in my mind for those guys. Because then kind of all bets are off. You're going back 4 years, but we'll see. So let's talk through the first one. So Ixalan reprinted back in August, and they were about $111 from distribution. They dried up relatively quickly, and they have the Velociraptor deck, which a lot of people like to play, sitting at $85 now. The approximate price of the display is $189. The EV sitting, this does not include the collector sample pack. So it's sitting right around $250, $260. It's down a couple bucks from the last time we looked at this, which was about a month ago. Duskborn out of stock everywhere. $245. This last time I looked at this, I think it was $180. Absolutely through the roof. The Endless Punishment deck is pushing $150. Selling through 9 a day. There's like 50 listed. It's absolutely crazy. The EV of the cards is $267. But the power of this concept isn't what you can buy it for today. It's if you would have bought this back in August, so you're talking 5, 6, 7 months ago, you could have bought this for $120 or $125. Now you can sell it for $245. You can back out commissions, fees, whatever you want, but you're doubling your money. You could have bought an unlimited amount of this and you're doubling your money. Let's move on to Fallout. So Fallout, there's more coming. There's no chance I would buy this at 371. The singles are at $283. So this is upside down because there's such a shortage of the sealed decks. We just had the second season of the Amazon, whatever the series. So the price is way too high. Karlov Manor. This is my single favorite, next to Lord of the Rings Commander, which we'll get to in a second. This is my second favorite opportunity. So Karlov Manor is a set that everybody hates. Even with the recent Playbox buyout of OTJ, Duskmorn, Bloom Burrow's gone, Lorman's almost gone, Foundation's just hit, that's almost gone, Final Fantasy's gone. With all of Playboxes basically evaporating, there's still a virtually unlimited amount of Karlov Manor. Now, by unlimited, if you wanted to buy pallets upon pallets, you could do it. But it's a set that everybody hates, and everybody shit on it from the start. And those are the products in the TCG space in games such as Pokemon, such as Magic, that I'm attracted to, because when it comes to your risk-adjusted return, your risk is as low as it gets, because the sentiment on an item only has one direction to go, and that's straight up. Whereas something with Destined Rivals, the sentiment's never going to be higher than what it is today. You get a large reprint coming in, you get 3 more sets that come in that people like more, the interest is going to go away. And in 5 years, is it the same price as Evolving Skies? Probably, but I don't give a shit about that. This is all about risk-based return, preservation of capital, and making more intelligent decisions where I have less risk. So that is the theory behind what we're going through today, and the theory behind why Perfect Order booster boxes are a much safer buy. In my opinion, it's going to have a superior return to Destined Rivals over the next year. And I don't think it's even a reach to say that. So, Karlov Manor, when these get reprinted, I'm pretty sure I have the only back order in these across. Well, I shouldn't say that. I need to get my back orders in once I find out they're going to come here, because I'm probably going to go bigger on Karlov than anybody else, because nobody pays attention to it. The name itself just makes people want to vomit. And the expected value of the singles, this is at the low list, is $346. This is 4 decks. So it's almost $100 per deck, $85, $90 per deck. For decks that are going to come out, and it's going to cost me $110 from distribution. These are the opportunities that when this dumps on the market, it is going to go back here. It is a stone cold lock that it's going to go down. It's going to churn for a couple months, and it's going to slowly recover, and then it's going to recover quickly. And that's the way it goes. It's almost like tipping a glass of water over. When you get to the point of no return, it just drops over, but it's inverted the way that the graph goes parabolic as supply dries up. And then Tarkir, I have 1,500 of these. And the reason for that is it's 5 decks for 1. People love dragons. There's almost certainly going to be dragons coming out this fall in Reality Fracture. We may return to Tarkir in 2027. Who knows? But nobody bought it, and there wasn't a whole lot of it out there. Now it's out of stock everywhere. Now the price on TCG Player is $188. I think distro price was like $138. I guess PhD does have it in one warehouse, but it's a limit of 2 per account per week. I don't really count that. But the expected value of the singles is at $257. And that is low list. You take it to a 50-cent SIF floor, you're still sitting at $220 plus $16 net of fees of the Commander sample packs, $14, whatever. I'm already deep in the money. And I bought these in October. And as they dry up, and the sell-through is strong on every single one of these, whether it's the sealed display, whether it's any one of the individual hot decks, because if one of those goes nuts, guess what? All the displays are going to get ripped. Then there's less displays. Or some of the hottest cards in the set that are selling, 400, 500, 600 copies a month. It is the nature of this beast, and it is the easiest game in the world. You just have to have capital. You have to make sure it sits there, and you have to be disciplined. And then you just kind of watch the asset base grow. Lord of the Rings, Magix Limit 4, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Alliance is limited. I would imagine they're going to run out of stock at some point. Alliance generally is the last to market with these restocks. I don't know if they get them last or if their internal process just takes a little bit longer. It doesn't matter either way. Average price on TCG Player is $187. This is the absolute trough of where we're going. It's selling through 40-some copies a day, and it's been doing it for a couple weeks now. And there aren't a whole lot of these that have come to market. I think I've mentioned multiple times, about 50,000 copies. Displays. I haven't seen much hit Amazon yet. We've seen the one deck and CSP deal going. So I don't know if that's direct through Wizards or if that's through a seller, a secondary seller. But I haven't really seen these. Now the EV of these is from $299 down to $227, but still distro prices $140 to $160 depending on who you're buying it from. And there's nowhere to go but up. I can't get enough of these because in 2 months it's going to be back at $250 plus and at $100 of profit per. It's too good to pass up. It is a stone cold lock, and nothing is going to stop it. Not the economy, not a meteor, not gas prices going up 40 cents. Oh no, it's just nothing is going to stop people from liking Lord of the Rings. And oh, by the way, look at the fucking Hobbit coming. So you don't think that people are going to be hyped up to look back for Lord of the Rings when the Hobbit comes? Better than Destined Rivals. It just is. There's no hype coming for Destined Rivals. It's only slowing down over time. Lord of the Rings, hype machine's coming. Final Fantasy Collector Commander. I have super heavy bags of this. I'm not going to lie. I think I have 150 of these that I bought mostly as people were desperate for liquidity on these, and they just weren't moving. Been out of stock everywhere for a while. The lowest price is $554. I think that's P Footballpedia, 16 copies left. I keep looking at it, and I'm super, super tempted to buy them. And then I look at Lord of the Rings, and I'm like, maybe I could squeeze a few more out of one of my distributors or two of my distributors. So I've been going more to Lord of the Rings. But the EV on these is $800. Yeah, I've talked to a few people that have been breaking these for singles. It takes them about a month to sell singles to get their money back, and then they're still stuck with a couple $100 of cards. These things are just going to bleed up and bleed up and bleed up until, we're north of $1,000 probably by the end of the year. It just is what it is. So moving on to my next two favorites. Turtles Commander, out of stock everywhere. Magazine exchanges limiting you to 4. Alliance is showing them in stock, but they are not orderable. I've tried to clean out as much as I can from distribution, so I have some because they actually sold pretty well. In pre-release, $56 in the TCG Player, which is pretty cheap. Now, it's well above what distribution price is, but the EV is $66. These have nowhere to go but up. The sell-through continues to accelerate, and everybody seems to love the decks and have a lot of fun with the decks. And I have a hard time believing that we're going to get a massive reprint of Commander displays of something that just didn't sell in the pre-release period very well. Obviously, post-release, things are selling quite well. So, I see a world where these are $75, $80 relatively soon. I haven't talked about Lorwyn yet, but Lorwyn's going to start to dry up soon as well. And once it does, we're going to hit that inflection point where the singles prices and the decks are going to start to move upward. I'm just not a huge fan of Commander displays that have 2 decks versus 4. It dilutes the market a little bit too much for me. And then Bloom Burrow. The reason I'm mentioning this is PhD Magazine Exchange Limit 4. GTS out of stock. Southern out of stock. Alliance is limited. Bloom Burrow Commanders. Now, the market's been saturated for a while with these. I think these came out in August and October. We saw a lot of these hit the market. So the sell-through has slowed. But it's probably time. It's probably time if you want to position these to get it, because distribution sold out. And I mean, look, the displays themselves are pushing $150 on TCG Player. These were sub 130 for the longest time. I think you can even have gotten them at like 119 when the reprint first came out. So now's the time they're going to dry up. I can't imagine they're going to reprint them anytime soon. Because the problem is they have all these SKUs that they need to reprint. A lot of them are commander displays, and it takes up absolutely so much space. And I don't know where distributors are going to put them when they get all the booster box reprints from Pokemon. See what I did there? You're welcome. It's coming. Don't worry. Don't be impatient. Don't be impatient, Timmy. I know you want everything yesterday. By the way, how's Bitcoin doing? It's doing well, right? Now we're going to talk play boosters. Outlaws of Thunder Junction. Big run on these. Still sitting at $138. I do like the set. I think the set's a lot of fun. The EV is $172. A little bit less with the Sith floor. Not a bad buy. Now, I would be shocked if we don't get some more OTJ along with Duskmorn. We're going to get some more Bloom Burrow. If these guys are going back to 2023, potentially even 2022, again, unconfirmed. Well, I mean, we did just get the starter commanders, which were December 2022. So we did just kiss 2022. We're going to get more of these. But again, if you're buying these right as they go out of stock, you can ride them up 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%. And when you find out that there's a reprint coming, because I do my videos, I tell you when they're going to happen, and there's obviously much more information in Discord, you can sell them, you can make your profit, and you can do it all over again. And this is a way that you can churn an unlimited amount of capital. Now, if you're trying to move $5 million at a time, it's probably not unlimited. But if you're churning $5 million at a time, you wouldn't be on YouTube. Just saying. So, Bloom Burrow. These are out of stock everywhere. Bloom Burrow play. Now, I will admit, these aren't recovering as quickly as I thought they would. I think a lot of people bought the boxes. A lot of people are dumping the boxes. They're ripping the boxes. The sell-through has slowed down a little bit. But now I think the trough's in, at $140. I'd be surprised if we're not pushing 150 in a week and a half. But that's how quickly these boxes move. There isn't nearly the volume of product for these Magic items that there are for Pokemon, because people actually buy them in stores, they rip them in stores, they play with them in stores, and a lot of the product just gets devoured in LGSs and other places other than TCG Player and eBay. So it is economically different than Pokemon, where a lot of folks are just quite simply just selling, 500 units on eBay or 500 units on TCG Player, because the margins are through the roof, especially compared to buying and flipping this from distribution as opposed to buying and sitting on it holding. Duskmorn, out of stock at MagX. PhD's limited. GTS is, I think they're pretty much, or no, I think they're limited. I'm sorry. Southern is out of stock. Alliance might actually be out of stock. I'm not quite sure. But still, $130, $143 for EV. I love the set. I think this is a really cool set. Would I buy it right now? Yes, only because, in fact, I recently did. Only because it's going out of stock, and apparently the Wizards Warehouse doesn't have them. Now, if these boxes push $180, $200, they're going out the door, and I'm going to sell them. So, again, this is not timing the market. This is timing the logistical cycle of Hasbro, which is very, very predictable. And there's so much visibility and runway between when product's coming to when product arrives to sell through a large quantity of product. Lorwyn, so we get the second wave of this. It's almost churned through the system now. MagX Limit 6 out of stock at PhD. GTS is limited. Southern is, I think they're out of stock on the website, but they might have a little bit. Alliance is unavailable. They have it listed on the website, but you can't order it. This is down to $118. These play boxes, these should be $150. Really on par with where we were for Edge of Eternities. As soon as the smoke clears here on the second wave, whether it's reprint or whether it was held back, quite honestly, I think it was held back because the initial Lorwyn was delivered in Q4 to distro, and the rest of these boxes were delivered in Q1. So again, managing earnings and revenue quarter to quarter. But the EV's kind of gotten smashed here, a little bit more than what I had expected. But again, at 118 bucks, the price of the boxes is not going any lower, and people love the set. Foundations just got the restock this week. Well, I should say delivered to me this week. Magazine Exchange Limit 6. Everybody else is limited. Alliance, I have fresh restock. They don't have it listed on the site. But again, they tend to be a couple weeks behind everybody else. So 120 bucks in the market. Now, the price of these is a little bit cheaper than the rest. OTJ Bloom Burrow Duskmorn is somewhere in the 117, 118 range. Foundations was between 106 and 110, 112. So it's a little bit cheaper. The EV is a 162. Again, freshly restocked. That number will come down. But in 3 or 4 weeks, it's probably time to buy foundations because the supply is going to churn through the market. The market's been choked of supply for a while. It's going to turn around, and it's going to move back up. And Final Fantasy, absolute batch of crazy. Magazine Exchange limit 6 boxes per account per week. Everybody else is out of stock. The boxes that were $130 4 weeks ago are now $178 now that everybody is out of stock. Now, the EV of the singles, and again, this is from my EV tracker, ev@anontcg.com. If you want to check it out, the link will be in the description. The EV at 114, not great. There's been so much of this product drip. But Final Fantasy at 178, we don't know when there's more coming. Could be Q2. In fact, I would be surprised if it's not Q2. But as of right now, it's not on anybody's radar for reprints. But every single item I've mentioned here, I would much rather buy this. Now, obviously, your Duskmorn, Fallout, Karlov, Manor, when the reprints come, not today, I would much rather buy those reprints because there's no downside, or virtually no downside, I guess I should say. And we know what the upside is, because this is the second time now Duskmorn's pushed $250. This is a third time Ixalan's pushed $190, $200. It's just the same movie over and over again. And you buy them, you sit the pallet in the corner, or the boxes in the corner, cases, however you scale your capital, and you just sit and wait. You look at the price once a week, once every 2 weeks, and next thing you know, you're going to say, well, son of a bitch, that thing has moved up 30%, 40%. And, you're basically saying is $110, $120 Playbox Commander deck, is it more likely to go to $200? Or is Destined Rivals more likely to go to $950 a box in the next 12 months? The decision's easy for me. Now, you guys may think Destined Rivals is a superior product, and it probably is. But at the end of the day, this is a risk-based approach, minimizing your downside and maximizing your upside as it relates to preservation of capital. Something that, if you disagree with me, you should probably read a book and learn about preservation of capital, risk management, downside, because things don't go to the moon forever, as we've seen in the past. And look, I don't see anything on the horizon that slows down the Pokemon market. Quite honestly, I don't see anything that slows down the Magic market either, unless Hasbro gets taken out by somebody that could destroy the market. That scares the shit out of me. So now it's just relative risk reward, and it is what it is. So anyway, guys, hopefully this was educational. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the Discord, and head into my basement, guys. Have a good night.